Welcome to the Healing Heart Podcast, where all healing is always a matter of the heart. I'm your host, Dawna Campbell, also known as the Mind Whisperer, interviewing guest experts on all matters of healing. Hi, and welcome to the Healing Heart Podcast. I am Dawna Campbell, and today I am so super excited for my guest, Ebony Tutora. She is a soul specialist and master meditation guide behind the brand Queens Recognize Queens. And I absolutely love that. And so this is geared at cultivating deeper connections for women to not only heal their past, but also maximize their future and make more money. Ebony teaches from pulling wisdom from her own experiences of childhood trauma, domestic violence, and rape, and now uses those experiences as testimonies to teach women and girls the same powerful tools she used to self-heal and empower herself. Her passion is teaching holistic practices, lifestyles, concentrating on her trifecta of modalities with the focus on inner child healing, mindset mastery, and of course, one of my favorites, meditation. Ebony also hosts live events, online courses, and one-on-one and in-person group coaching. She is an author, featured panelist, speaker, and workshop host. She's been featured in Medium, Internet Traffic Magazine, The Good Quote, We Empower Magazine, Shout Out LA, Hey Mama Summit, and more, discussing topics as healing, self-love, care, wellness, meditation, mindset mastery, and turning pain into peace. She is on a mission to globally uplift 1 million, get that, 1 million women and girls by encouraging them to love themselves and one another, to heal and walk boldly and courageously into a lifelong goal of becoming the very best version of themselves. So welcome, Ebony, to the Healing Heart Podcast.
Thank you. I am so honored to be here.
So how did you, I know you had your own life story and the events that you went through, but now you're using it as testimonies to help other women and girls move forward for self-healing, self-care, self-love. Tell us what made you decide to go through that transition for you.
Yeah, I knew automatically after one of the most life-changing experiences in my life, I knew automatically that I was sent here to help women. After being held hostage, I had this experience where it just empowered me so much. It empowered me to not only help women, but it also empowered me to dive into the psychological space of not only healing, but psychology and, helping myself navigate those experiences and thrive. So I believe in healing, but I also believe in that second portion for me, which is thriving and taking our experiences and becoming better because of them.
Yes, absolutely. And I agree with that. I think we're always presented with choices to stay where we are, and you can be in that, say, victim mentality, but to use the experiences, expand and grow into becoming, and then to use your message as a gift that way. What do you find is the most profound effect that you have working with your clients?
I would say it's the ability to feel the instant healing. One of the things that I knew even for myself was that healing, I had this belief that healing took time, and then that I felt enough time as much as I needed. And although we all want to be coddled and hugged and loved that way, I learned that healing can be instantly, in an instant moment. And I would say that's the greatest gift that I give people, the greatest gift of being able to turn chaos into calm. I always give people this story because, we're like in the holiday season of when my mom during Christmas time would get out a box of like the lights and everything that we would be putting back on the tree this year. And she'd be like, Ebony, can you untangle the lights? So I feel like I've spent most of my life, that's just one of the circumstances where I've been able to take something chaotic and turn it into peace, to like something better. So I know that is the foundation of who I am as a person. And that's what I give people. That's probably the biggest compliment I ever get, is you're so calm. And I'm like, you can't smell your own flowers, but I receive it. And I know I'm pretty calm.
Nice. And what a metaphor that is. Can you untangle those lights? Because really that's what we're doing in healing is we're untangling that chaos and that drama to go into a flow of peace and harmony with that. One of the things, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I was agreeing.
Oh, so one of the things you mentioned here in your bio, cultivating deeper connections for women to heal their past, maximize their future, and of course, make more money. So share with us a little bit of how you work with your clients for the women. How do you cultivate those deeper connections?
Absolutely. So I believe we are mind, body, spirit. And I always say it's easy to do the mind thing. We live in a world, there's so much information about psychology and how we think. I think that's easy to understand for most. Then you have the body connection, which is, not only just, at the surface level, it's eating healthy, exercising, all of that stuff. And I find that the soul connection is where most people struggle with. How do they align with that? Because then you think about religion, you think about all these different things. So we talk about healing your past. One of the greatest questions that really many of us don't really think about is, what is our story? You get to reconnect with healing your past. So there's 4 questions that I ask everyone to help them kind of do all of those 3 things. So the first question is, what is your story? Because that's what helped me navigate the experience of trauma, which, what is my story? And how does that, now that I have a level of self-awareness and consciousness, what is my story so that I know what that is? The second question is, what triggers you, right? So if you go back to the story, you're looking through the pinpoints of like, ooh, yeah, I don't like talking about that. That makes me super emotional. And then the third question is, what keeps you from, no, I'm sorry, let me backtrack. So it's what triggers you. The third question is, I just lost it. I feel like that was okay, where do you see your past and your current today? Because if you are able to see similarities, that means that we're reliving the trauma, right? So part of our past and maximizing our futures, you have to merge those 2 things together. And then when you implement processes like meditation, deep healing meditation, as well as mindfulness, and of course, mindset mastery, now you can maximize your future. If you love and adore and own your value, you are going to naturally make more money, right? And I think just in the spiritual world and the healing world, we always separate those things as if making money isn't the best thing ever, So that is how people pretty much bring that combination of healing your past, maximizing your future, and making more money. By asking them those questions first and foremost. The last question is, what steps are you going to take to achieve your dreams? Because that's the next step is, okay, what's next? I know what triggers me. I know my story. What do I really want and who do I want to be? That's that final, actualization of purpose, moving out of that healing space into the thriving space. So that's how I help.
Nice. I absolutely love that. And with the ways that you help with women, girls, people of all ages, really, what do you see as a commonality that they go through for healing? Is there something common as a common thread between them all that needs to be released for trauma, for the healing to come in?
I mean, listen, where are we? We're on the Healing Heart podcast. Right? We know that the heart has it has a magnetic force that is measurable. So for most, I think everyone, the heart is the center that I look at it as a little person that has hands in the spirit, hands in the physical realm, like communicating between both. And from a lot of our trauma, some of that communication gets shut down through disappointments, anger, resentment, all of those emotions that go into the heart, because the heart only has so much space. So I would say the commonality is stepping into the heart on many different levels. So forgiving yourself, forgiving others, feeling. I always say, in order to heal, especially in the heart space, you have to acknowledge the hurt and the pain first, the anger, right? When you were a child, you didn't rationalize experience and say, well, they were doing their best. You were probably angry, resentful, but moving through the heart in a very healing and healthy way. And again, if you're asking yourself those questions, you're able to see those things that do bother your heart. When you let things go, just like spring cleaning, especially in that heart space, we're able to see life differently, be more soft and gentle with others, with ourselves, and you're more welcoming to a transformative experience as far as healing your past, maximizing your future, and making more money, because that's where you're loving yourself, you're loving. And it's a beautiful feeling. We all know that. We all know love in itself in the purest form is the most beautiful feeling ever, and it transforms everything. So the common thread in short, even though I said it long, is in the heart space.
Absolutely, because all healing really is a matter of that heart space. And there was some other key words in there that you also shared as well for self-healing is that you have to go through a forgiveness process. So for you, what does forgiveness mean, and how do you cultivate that with your clients?
Oh, that is the best question ever. So what does forgiveness mean? I actually wrote the foreword. My friend has a book, The 8 Steps to Forgiveness. But forgiveness to me is one of those words in the English language that has many meanings. So just like love is like, you could bring in all these, love means ... Then there's other words that are that's just what they are, right? Like that word is just that word. But I feel like forgiveness is one of those words that if you do understand it from that point of view, that it encompasses so many other words like understanding, empathy, love, clarity, release, like forgiveness, courage. It takes courage to forgive people. It takes wisdom to forgive people, because a lot of times we look at forgiveness as the gift. Well, I'm not going to forgive them because we feel like we're almost condoning what had happened. And that's not the point of forgiveness, is so that we can energetically release the weight and the trigger and the thought process behind what someone did to us, and step into a place of not taking it so personal, and understanding the essence it had and the importance it had in our journey, which is obviously not always easy depending on the circumstance. So the greatest gift that I could give anyone, and that I tell all of my clients, is it's the forgiveness exercise, which is, I always tell them, it's 20 seconds or less. You have your entire life, and all I'm asking you is to take these 20 seconds and do this. And I've seen so many various results, and I've also had people say, no, I'm not doing it, and they don't do it because they're so angry and they want to be angry. So I say, listen, if they're talking about a person, I say, okay, well, I want you to call them. And in short, I believe part of elevating from the heart to using your throat is truth and love. We have to learn how to speak in truth and love, because if you only speak in truth, then you're going to hurt people. They're not going to feel your heart. But if you speak in truth and love, then there's more of a gateway to actual understanding, because they feel your heart. So you just call them and you say, hey, I've been thinking about some things, and I want to let you know that I love you and that I forgive you. Now, it's something that no one in your life is going to, like, no one ever expects you to call and say that, but people give them. And whether they can place that emotion or not, people can feel that disconnection. So that is the gift that I always tell my clients to do. And like I said, some people flat out say, no, I'm not ready. Some people do it. And, I had a girl who did it. Her mom was like, she said it to her, and she's like, I just want to apologize for the mom that I've been to you. She's never, ever said that to her. And they had a super healing conversation. Some people will reject it and they'll be like, what do you mean you forgive me? You don't need to forgive me. And they'll push it away. But I always say, you're planting the seeds of the things you want to grow, which is forgiveness. And it was for you, because for you to even get that off your chest and to say it in that way plants the seed of forgiveness and allows it to be nurtured. So congratulations. So I would say that's like the number one thing that I share with people, because it's so revolutionary and it gets us out of ego and it places us in a space to be the bigger person when it comes to that journey.
Nice. And such sage advice for even of today's time. Absolutely there. Because those things right there are the key. So everybody, you are here at the Healing Heart podcast, and my guest today is Ebony. She's a soul specialist and master meditation guide, and she is the brand behind the Queens Recognize Queens. So what we're going to be doing next here is we are going to take a quick break here for our sponsor, and we will be right back. So hold on. Get what you always wanted. Abundant life is possible. transform your lifestyle in just weeks with the most innovative system developed for heart-centered business professionals who seek change today. You are one step away from creating infinite prosperity, happiness, and love. Grab your bonus link now that's in the show notes. All right, welcome back to the Healing Heart Podcast. I'm your host, Dawna Campbell, and my guest today is Ebony. She is a soul specialist and master meditation guide, and the brand behind Queen Recognizes Queens. So she has been sharing such amazing tips and advice all along the way, but I definitely have to ask this question here. How does one become a soul specialist? And what does a soul specialist do?
Oh, that's a great question. I'll be perfectly transparent, honest. I've been working on what is my title? And, I think it kind of defines to our audience who we are and what do we do. So when I think about soul specialist for me and just coming up with that, it's actually pretty recent, like 30 days or less. And it really has to do with getting people back in contact with their souls. That's the essence are. So if we, to me, it reminds me, we spend our lives sometimes searching for spirituality, or we have spiritual and to me, as a soul specialist, it's like, well, you can't search for your sunglasses and you're wearing them. And you can't search for your cell phone and it's in your hand. A lot of times we do those things, right? And it's like, it's right there. Me as a soul specialist, it's getting people reconnected with their soul as the dominant essence of their being so they can think from that space and maneuver life through that space, which to me gives people the gift, the greatest gift ever, which is wisdom, the wisdom to navigate anything on this plane. Because if we are all soul specialists and we are in touch with our soul, we know that everything is a lesson. Everything is sent here to help us elevate to the next level, from listening to a podcast to listening to a song to every single decision. Everything that we do is intertwined into just the being of a soul embodying a body. And I would say that's how we all become soul specialists, is really understanding the predominance of who we are, removing all of the ego that comes with being in a human vessel, and allowing to fully experience life at the utmost healed level, abundant level, loving level that we can, to truly leave this earth and say, I did everything that I said I wanted to do, and I did, and I'm leaving with no regrets. So to me, that's how we get there. And those are the goals of getting there.
I love that. I absolutely love that. What is the number one way that you share with your clients and your audience for them to really get in touch with their soul and who they are?
Oh, one of your favorite things ever, which is meditation.
I had a feeling, but I thought I'd ask.
It's absolutely meditation, because when someone comes to me, whether it's in a clubhouse room, on a private session, it doesn't matter what it is. Usually it's these avenues we get to use to transmit our vibration, called social media. So when people come across me and, I'm on an Instagram live or I'm on a clubhouse and I say, hey, listen, I'm getting ready. We're going to give you an amazing meditative healing DNA activation experience. I think everything, to most of us, we have this cynical mind that's like, yeah, okay, sure, we're over, we've heard it all, right? And then they actually meditate with me and they're just mind blown, like, oh my God, you brought me, like, I feel so peaceful and I feel so calm, and I was seeing things and I was feeling flashes of light and I felt healed, or I got emotional. So being able to get people back into their body and feel that deep reconnection. So I always tell them, help you get back into your God frequency, because when we're out of that, we're vibrating at these levels that we don't feel the peace. And it's like everything's always right there. It's always right there. The level of taking some layers off and noticing it and being with it. So really for me, that's probably one of my most favorite gifts that I have, is being able to get people into that meditative state of peace, of flow, aka God frequency, because then they can feel it, just hearing it consciously and trying to understand the level.
I love that. And I love the word God frequency, because there is so much truth and wisdom in that. So when someone's in that peace and that flow and their God frequency, they're doing the meditation, what can they expect to see as some of the results for them?
Oh my goodness. Well, first and foremost, meditation helps you to feel more confident, more focused, more relaxed. Gets rid of stress and anxiety, depression, and things like that. But from my perspective, the things that I absolutely promote, it's a higher belief in yourself. It's deeper feeling of your own power, deeper
Mhm.
feel, genuine peace. Because even for myself, there were it's peace, turning chaos into peace came much later in life. I always spoke about turning pain into power, not pain into peace, because we could do that easily. You go through something painful and you're like, I'm going to be the most successful person ever because of this. And that's great. But peace, feeling that inner peace to me is unmatched, because when you feel peaceful, you're just unbothered by a lot of things. You're not so hard on yourself or others, and everything's just like, oh, okay, what's the lesson here? And you move on. And that is healing to the body. That's healing to the mind. Being able to maximize your purpose. We're all sent here for a purpose. We all have a seed planted within us, and we won't be happy until we do that.
Mhm.
So if I'm able to show up and to help people figure that out, because most of the time everyone's like, I don't know, and it's like, we do know, we're just afraid. So those are the top qualities I would say that people get to tap into. And then from all that, everything else flows deeper, love for others, deeper empathy, deeper ability to forgive, and really just maneuver through life of grace and pour back to others. That's what I love for
Yes.
people. Whatever I taught you, take that out there. Now you get to give that back and help someone else close to you or afar. But that's the gift that keeps on giving of healing.
I love that. And yes, because when you share your gifts and talents with others and you help one person, the healing process starts. But when you help hundreds of people, it really starts to magnify. But
Yeah,
you are on a mission for a million
I am.
girls and women. So share with us your vision of doing that.
Yeah. So my vision is, I think that's the beautiful thing about social media. I don't have to physically actually touch people, I don't, but I get to touch them through social media, through viral videos. But beyond that, I do believe I'm going to live for a very long time, and just being able to host live events, build communities, and truly spread the message of healing. And I think through social media in general, it just makes touching 1 million people super easy. Obviously, up until this point in my life, I've touched thousands, but like we just talked about, when you assist one person, you're almost essentially assisting maybe 25, because they're going to go out to more people. And depending on what they do, it might be even bigger than that. If they're in the healing space too, then the number triples. So that's how I see that vision. And like, as you were reading the bio, I just kind of saw myself with just like a bunch of girls and women around me, and just continuing to host in person or online things. Will get to truly feel that healing and feel impacted. Like, I'm happy that I came and meditated at that space, and I'm happy that I invested in myself and took your healing programs, and being able to see the value and how they get to give that back is just a beautiful thing. So shout out to God for creating social media, because it definitely expands our reach to like a global level that once wasn't possible.
Right. Yes, absolutely there. So how do people get in touch with you, and the best way to become a part of this with you?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So the best way to become a part of this with me would be to head over to my website, hello at Queen. That's my email, queensrecognizequeens.com. My direct email is hello at queensrecognizequeens. They're interested in working directly with me, or they have more questions. And then absolutely follow me on Instagram. They can DM me on Instagram, but that's probably I prefer the Instagram DM, because that way I can send a voice note, which is and just to let people know I am a real person regardless of follower count. So yeah, that's how people can get in touch with me and get on their journey of maximizing their healing.
All right. I absolutely love that. So everybody out there, reach out to Ebony, become a part of this, because together we are strong in numbers and we can truly create the world a better place and make that impact there. And all of her social media links will also be in the show notes, so you guys can gather and grab those. And thank you, Ebony, so much for sharing your wisdom and your expertise with us today here on the Healing Heart Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.